So hi, I'm Gaten, and I'm here to show you my axe build. This is just an axe build. It wasn't really well thought out. I was just like, well, I'll make a build that uses axes and see how far I can get with that. So I just started as a duelist, got these damage nodes, going through here, got life and life regen, grabbed resist, went up here, and then grabbed by the blade, and eventually got resolute technique and got these life and regen nodes in the marauder tree. Then fill it the rest of the trees I saw fit for damage and life and dexterity and other nodes. This is basically what I made. I'm only using one aura, and that's the damage aura Hatred, so that's the biggest damage boost I can really reasonably get. Potentially, if I was running, say, like a hardcore, I would run Grace instead, or maybe like Grace and Hatred, and maybe if I could fit it in, grab an aura node or two, and maybe I could run another aura, like Vitality maybe, or Purity, and then just run everything off Blood Magic and give up a Link. And that's potentially what I would do instead. So I'm using a Prismatic Eclipse in my offhand for 36% extra attack speed and 10% chance to block. So a Bright Beak actually will have a higher tooltip, but the tooltip isn't correct because the tooltip on Double Strike and Leap Slam are based off both your main hand and offhand weapon stats, but those don't actually apply to anything. The offhand weapon stats don't do anything unless it's, say, a global increase, like say if you're using a dagger in your offhand. Like if you're using an Ungol's Gosh, you'll get 90% bonus crit chance, or crit strike chance. But a Bright Beak actually does nothing except give you resistance. I didn't think this was the case. I played since a long time ago, and I always heard like, oh, having a Bright Beak in your offhand makes you leap slam faster, and that's just because Bright Beak, dual Bright Beaks just leap slam so fast, and just it was true, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it was changed. I don't really know or care. Anyways, currently a Prismatic Eclipse in your offhand is definitely faster. So I'm running off of mana. I don't have quite the reason to use Blood Magic, and I don't have quite the reason to give up a slot to use the Blood Magic gem, because that just gives us more damage. So I'm using Mana Leech to sustain my mana supply. You don't actually need Mana Leech on a specific piece of gear, because you can roll Mana Leech onto a Prismatic Eclipse itself by just rolling a blue socket onto it. So you're just green, green, blue, bam, got Mana Leech. I have the Endurance Charge Melee Stun Gem in with my Leap Slam, so if I'm ever doing like just AoE damage, I should always have Endurance charges up. This build has pretty low gear requirements because it can use evasion, armor, and armor gear, and in general, not really too hard to gear out. The axe I'm using specifically isn't particularly good. It's a royal axe with a really high, just straight damage, but it's really, really slow. It's like the slowest base one-handed axe you could have. But the attack speed doesn't really matter on it because Leap Slam has a base attack speed by itself. Doesn't matter what the base attack speed on your weapon is, Leap Slam will always attack at the same rate. So having more global attack speed will increase the will increase the attack rate, and having, say, local attack speed on the weapon will increase the attack rate. But the base attack speed, like say if this is a foil with 1.7 attack speed, would have the same attack rate as a 1.1 royal axe, for instance. So a little bit easier to gear out than what you might think. What else? No, that's really about it. I guess I'll just kind of like kill some mobs for a little while. We're not really running a Granite Flask, for instance. Like, one of the main problems isn't really the physical damage I'm taking, because if I'm ever really screwed on taking physical damage, Immortal Call is there to basically mitigate way more than a Granite Flask possibly could. Whereas, like, say if I run into a Storm Herald or a pack of Fire Dogs, the only way I can really mitigate that is by flasks. So that's why I have 2 flasks instead of 1 non-flask. And then I just have a Mana Flask, or a Hybrid Flask for if I happen to go too long without actually hitting something, or just happen to run through the entire level for too long. Or if it's like no regen or some other crazy or random shit like that. See if I can find the boss. The damage isn't too impressive. The tooltips are incorrect. I don't really know how the game calculates the tooltips on double strike and leap slam, but I guarantee you it's incorrect every single time it happens. So currently I have, what, 4.7k DPS on leap slam, but it kills everything in like 3 slams, so I'm not really sure if that's accurate or not. And I have 16k DPS on double strike. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know. I'm running off 4 links everything. Like, I know the numbers are incorrect, I'm just not sure how incorrect they are. It's within, say, 30% of their true values, I know that much. Where is that boss? Bringer of Fragility. Come at me. Fucking snakes. So if you hear explosions in the background, that's because there's a giant thunderstorm outside, which I can't really control. Whoa! Let's go, Vol. Ow. I feel like I was decent and probably should have died there, but whatever. So that's basically the build. Maybe if you want to try something similar in the new league, you can. My gear not particularly good anywhere. And yeah, that's the axe build, if you feel like copying it. So yeah, I'm good, and I will see you next time.